Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear me right now? I know AJ is in here. Good morning, Bub. How you doing, man? I'm glad you're here, man. I hope you had a good holiday. I wonder if I heard from you yesterday. Probably. Um, Sometimes I don't hear from you guys. Like a couple days in a row, and I start thinking about you. Like I did. I was able to talk to Sheila a lot the last couple of days, and I think that was good. And to kind of get where she's at in her life. I was able to talk to Cindy a lot, do some important work there, and I think and it helped me a lot, really. And a lot of work with Deb. Deb is doing great, and I think Shannon is doing great too. There's a lot of people doing great. Chris is doing great. A lot of people. A lot of people. I don't want to just mention people because it really is everybody is doing a really great job. And and when I say that, right, when I say great job, I mean holding on to your heart during a very difficult time in the world, right? We have to be able to protect our hearts, right? And we have to be able to keep our hearts soft and open to helping other people, right? And you like, I don't ever want to get to a point where because I'm scared of some kind of abuse, right, or some kind of hate, that I'm not going to have my heart open to take care of somebody. And I think that's where we're at, like we're going to get hated for even doing great things. What's going on, Patrick? How you doing, Luke? What's going on, buddy? And yeah, I mean, and that's what it is, right? Outside four walls, right? Like, um, I'd like to call you by your name, or if there a short name I could call you by, would be good. But yeah, you're right. We got to be the salt of this realm. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And like if we're scared, right, of being hurt, right, that's not good, right? We have to really stand up for each other. Oh, thanks, Brian. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I have a cousin named Brian. Man, he's probably one of my favorite people. Like one of my favorite people ever. So that helps me. Thanks, Brian. And yeah, Luke, thanks for coming so fast too, and AJM, of course, and of course Tetro. What's going on, Patrick? But yeah, I mean, it does make us different, right? But it also leaves us open to be hated or misunderstood, right? I put out a um like a poll. You know how you can do you put out polls for people to vote on, and I said, would you rather, when somebody does you wrong, right? Would you rather them apologize, right? And admit it that they did you wrong, or would you rather them call you a B and an S and do streams about you and lie, right? Well, it's almost a 50-50 vote, man. It's almost a 50-50 vote. There are people that are more comfortable being abused, right, by people that do them wrong. Because when somebody comes to apologize, or when someone comes to admit wrongdoing, it's uncomfortable for them. They don't know what the hell you're doing. They're like, what are you doing apologizing? Just don't do it anymore. And there's more to it than that, right? There's more to it than that. If you're going to do somebody wrong and then just the next day act like it just didn't never happen, no one's going to get any closure out of that. It's not right for someone to treat you wrong. And so when someone does like come to you like a man, right? Says, hey, look, I did something wrong. I'm sorry about that, right? There's something in that, right? Hey, Hannah. Oh, it's great to see you. Oh, yeah, I missed you the last few days. I sure did. I sure did. I probably could have texted you more, but you know, the last couple of days I was talking to Sheila, and so, but yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm glad to see you. That's another one of my favorite people. She's the least stressful person in my life right now. But yeah, and oh yeah, I did hear from both my kids yesterday. So it's rare for me not to hear from my kids in any day. Like it could be Wednesday, and to not hear from them all day is weird, you know. But this was, Christmas, right? I don't celebrate Christmas, but they do. And on Christmas, right? I didn't hear from them all day until last night. Then I heard from both of them. So it is what it is. Hey Shannon, how you doing? I don't know, Shannon, if you met Hannah before, but she hasn't been here the last couple of days. Um, yeah, I mean, isn't it weird? Hey, did you see that vote that I put out, right? Of like, what would you rather, somebody apologize or somebody, treat you like crap, basically? And it's a 50-50 vote, man. Like, I mean, last time I saw it was like 7 votes, and like 3 of them were like they voted for it to be treated like crap. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I did hear from the kids. It was great. Absolutely great. Yeah, the Christmas and all that. I mean, just ever since I learned about that, it's kind of made me so upset because it used to be my favorite time of year, and naive about it, right? Of course, I was thinking about Jesus during that time, right? And it never was about that other stuff, but just the fact that the Bible tells us not to decorate a tree, and you know, it seems like it's like a in your face mockery. It's like waving a rainbow flag at somebody because the rainbow represents that God will never flood the earth. So if you're doing something like a sin, and then you're waving a rainbow flag in his face, that's like a middle finger. Like you're not going to flood the earth, you promised. And I'm going to use that to my advantage to be prideful. And so like that's crazy. Oh, okay, good, 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 good. You've seen each other. That's great. That's great. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so, yeah, man, I know the streams have been different lately, and some of you have liked the new, not really a new format, but just it's more loose, right, and less on the time limit, I guess. But if I can't have somebody up here to talk, right, and I can't, because I really can't carry an audience past 45 minutes. That's just, I don't know, for some reason, that's just when the show goes downhill. And so if somebody wants to join me to talk or whatever, I'm cool with that. This is the only rule I would say, right? The conversation is going to go a lot better if you believe that we're saved through the sacrifice of Jesus Christ, you know, because it took me all my life to learn that truth. And that's just accepting the way things are. That's not a statement of condemnation against your beliefs, right? But if you believe in the salvation of Jesus Christ, right, through Jesus Christ and faith in His sacrifice, right, then then we can talk about just whatever, right? And it doesn't have to be like a debate. But anyway, so I didn't have to probably say it that way, but I really want to have agreement in that. You know what I mean? Before having people on. But you know what? I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to put the link out there. If somebody feels brave and wants to click it, that's cool. And it's free for anybody to click it. If you click it and only stay on for a couple of minutes, that's cool too. If you click it and stay on longer or until someone else wants to, then that's cool too. I'm okay with that because like this should be more like a radio program. I was thinking about that. I was talking to Cindy, and maybe just having just like, you know, just putting out my consciousness, where I'm at and where my thinking is, where my heart is, and maybe that'll be better for people to listen to that rather than there being a specific lesson, maybe, or some drama going on that I'm explaining, or, a teachable moment when people blow up at you. Like, I mean, that's great. I mean, 9 times out of 10, I probably would have ignored that situation that happened and let it unfold, right? I probably wouldn't have persisted to make it better, right? Is hard, right? Because I know that time heals a lot of wounds. And sometimes you come back and you see the way things really were. It is not the way you think they were. And so, yeah, let's see who's backstage. All right, it's Luke, man. All right, I'm gonna get Luke. Hold on a second, guys. Hey, good morning, Luke. Welcome to the show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Good morning, brother. How are you?
Ah, man. I think that. So I don't know, like the last like 4, 5, 6 shows, whatever. I don't know if you think they're better, right? Because I know we've had more people and it's been real like looser, and I don't want like there to be like major fights in the chat or anything like that. I have had some people on that were like, had had some you know, pretty on the edge beliefs that I had to kind of reconcile a little bit, you know. But I think it was pretty good, pretty loose, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you're always taking a risk when you're doing that. So, when things
Yeah.
go well, I mean, you gotta be grateful for it.
Hmm. And see, I think like Sheila did like a good job last night, and she outwardly admits, that she's not a saved person, right? That uh, she hasn't gone through that process with confessing Jesus as Lord and all that. And I think that she's been with us a long time now, and very respectful, very wonderful lady, right? And I think sometimes, some people aren't there yet, right? And there is a risk in that, right? Because um, if somebody doesn't believe, right, in the sacrifice of Jesus Christ is for to be saved, right, for salvation, then it can make things, awkward, right? Because different things come up, like, you start believing in different things in the world and stuff like that. But I think it's a good illustration of that we're all different, even in this small community, we're all different, and I think we can all get to the truth, you know, if we're
Yeah, yeah.
nurtured, yeah,
Like you said, even in this small community, we have different beliefs on smaller subtopics. We all agree on the main thing about being
yeah,
saved, but within that, then there's, the whole rapture and all those other topics that we still
yeah,
have to try to figure out. And sometimes it's tough because people do get emotional, which everything's been pretty good, but, sometimes people do get emotional or have a hard time like agreeing to disagreeing. And I understand because it's a passionate thing to talk about.
it is. Our relationship with God is probably like the most ultimate thing, right? And what's weird is like it's not like someone's gonna come here, right? As like, let's say someone comes here and they're a non-rapture person, right? They're not gonna leave here believing something different. It's like they're dug in, right? Like there's nothing I could say that's gonna change their mind, right? You can only plant a seed and hope that maybe one day they'll look at it, or maybe I'm wrong and I got to look at it, right? And so like it's one of those things, right? And I was thinking the other day about another one that really gets people is the resurrection of the dead in Christ, right? Now, of course, absent with the body, present with the Lord, right? Your spirit. Oh no, I lost him. I hope he comes back. Oh yeah, he's back. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay, cool.
absent with the absent with the body, present with the Lord, right? And then also they're going to be resurrected and judged with us, right? All at the same time, right? And so there was this whole argument about soul sleep. Like, are they asleep? And then, and then when they're resurrected, they're instantly with God, right? Like some omnipresent kind of thing, right? And I'm like, why do people argue about that, right? It's a big topic too, right? Why do people argue about that, right? When it doesn't affect us at all, right?
Right, right. It
Like,
doesn't affect salvation. I mean, I guess it affects the way it goes, but just the end game in general. I mean, if people, that are saved, they're still going to the same spot, whether they're all judged at the same time or not. And I don't know, that one's an interesting one. The only thing about it is I've never even thought about that until like a few weeks ago. I've been hearing that
yeah,
through
yeah.
YouTube here and there. So I don't know. It's a little weird. I'm just now hearing about it, but at the same time, it is interesting.
It is interesting, and I do get feeling one way or another about it, right? But like something like the rapture, right? That does affect us because it's like, what like what do we are we gonna expect it or not expect it or be willing to go through it, be ready to go through it, that kind of thing, right? But soul sleep, right? Whether or not they're asleep in their grave or present with God right now, right? Even though there's scripture that backs up that they're present with God, sure, of course, right? Like, what does it really matter to us? As long as, as long as when our people are dead in Christ, right? They've believed and they're gone now, uh, are going to be there in the end, right? And I'm sure it's going to be an instant trip for them, obviously, right? It's not like they're going to be like paralyzed in a grave or something crazy like that. It's like I don't know. It just seems like it's like the one of the least things that matter. Like we should be like reaching out to like people that are like just finding out about flat Earth or just finding out about some of these lies, right? And saying, "Hey, listen, you better be open to God now, man. Crack your Bible, man. It's time to get real." And those are the people we should be reaching out to. But when they see us arguing over soul sleep, right? I mean, how do you think that makes somebody feel if they're brand new?
Right. That's the thing. It doesn't give them much of a direction or much information on, what they've just discovered. So it's almost like not quite a distraction, but when you're arguing about it and you're going like time after time talking about this subject, then it becomes a distraction because they could be learning about salvation or something more important.
Yeah. I mean,
There's not
I think it would be different if like if I believed, right, that we were gonna be here for another 100 years or whatever, 1,000 years, and this is just like the middle of times, and we have plenty of time for people to make decisions, right? Then I would just be happy, like, trimming up my own character and, helping brothers out that want to trim up their character and they can help me out, right? And, try to get it as tight as possible, try to get to the tightest truth possible, right? Because that's what we want. All truth is important. I mean, it's all important, but but at this stage, right, where it's starting to look like more and more every day, like, okay, we can't continue like this, it's probably the end times. It makes me want to just like, when I see somebody that I'm like, wow, that person's going to go in the lake of fire, and they're not a worse person than me, right? Like, I don't want them to go in the lake of fire, you know and to me that's a priority, and I know
right.
we all have different
Especially
priorities, right?
things like this, we gotta figure out the priorities over the little topics that we can argue about anytime, or after the fact. I mean, after the fact, we'll probably find out everything anyway.
Yeah, yeah. And with our little noodle, right? Like like what do we really understand,
But I
Like,
almost think I don't know about that topic in particular about us all being judged at the same time, but I do think the aspect of these little topics that are taking time and people arguing about, I think there's something to that to cause division or or waste more time at least when there could be
yeah.
more important topics, and then it kind of throws a wrench in everything. And I almost think that there's like maybe even forces that are purposely trying to do that just to kind of slow down the salvation process for people.
Yeah. And there's also like a lot of variables in the sense that like, we've been lied to our whole lives, and maybe we even been lied to by pastors, like corrupt pastors, or even well-meaning pastors that try to fit that science into the Bible, to reconcile it for us. And sometimes, well, you'll have a well-meaning pastor that you like, or maybe it's your dad or somebody you love told you, like, yeah, it's science and the Bible, they fit together like this and that, right? And you're like, oh yeah, it's all in there. And then when you get to the truth, right, that it is a flat Earth and it is evolution is a lie, right? Then you're like, it's hard for you to let go of that stuff that like maybe your loved one told you, or your favorite pastor, or your dad or whatever, who made it all fit for you at one point, right? It's like
Oh, no,
so
definitely. That goes with a lot of topics too, because even when I started getting into truth, maybe around like 2011, my those same buddies I got into truth now are still kind of stuck. So like Alex Jones, kind of a great example. He kind of wakes people up to where it's like, wow, the government's been lying, all this. So then, when you speak against Alex Jones or you say he's kind of crazy, I actually used to do this, like when he was freaking out on Pierce Morgan's interview. I don't know if you remember that, but I was backing up Alex Jones, even though he was interrupting him, being rude, just because Alex Jones sort of woke me up in some things. So then I
yeah,
started agreeing with everything he said, and I would basically like take him to heart, almost like he was the gospel or something. And I think like
right.
once someone figures out that they've been lied to, or somebody says something that's really woke them up, they take everything that person says and they're almost following the man instead of Christ.
Yeah, you're right, actually. You almost start to it's almost like idol worship, a little bit, because you're like, wow, man, this person's really like opened my eyes. Like, I need this person to get to God or something, or I need this person to wait, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen a lot of people like that. Or they'll meet somebody that's like really got the Holy Spirit, like real, like they're special. They're glowing with God's Holy Spirit, and people will start like worshiping the guy instead of God, right? I don't know. It's
Yeah, I mean
weird,
that
right?
happened back in biblical times too. That's what Paul was talking about. How, oh, I've gotten baptized by Paul. I follow Paul. I follow Apollos, and he's talking about how is Christ divided. It's been going on this whole time about, people, they get a little bit of truth out of one of the someone who's probably, is really good, but at the same time, no man is perfect. So they
That's right.
hear a little bit of truth off, someone that they follow or one of their brothers or something, and then all of a sudden they're following that person instead of building their own relationship with God.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And then it's like I wish we knew the truth from birth, right? Because there's so many little things, little nuanced things. Like, I wish I knew how to connect with God more or better, or like, I want to learn more about meditation, and I want to learn more about the fasting and all that, right? Like it's crazy because I know that if someone probably grew up knowing that God was there and God was real and there was no question about it, right? They would just be working on, their relationship with God all the time. And then we would have better contact with him, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I mean, I think a big part of it too is, I mean, obviously, I think if you really have your heart to the truth and follow God and read the Bible, He's going to show you signs and things like that. Maybe even through people that don't even follow God, but they're an instrument. They say the right thing at that right time to make you click and figure out truth that way. Just because, like we were saying before, you're just born to so many generations of lies. They have to like
Yeah.
unpeel every little thing, and it does really make things so difficult.
Yeah. And then, like, when I was talking to Cindy yesterday on the show, right? That they'll even do it like this, right? Where they'll teach all these lies, right? To even have like your your grandparents, your parents, and all that, they're telling you lies too, right? Because they believe the lies they were told, right? Then they'll like throw a wrench in like generational connection by changing the slang and all that to where you can't really talk or connect, right, with the older people in your family, and that's where you learn the most information about life, right? And so what they'll do is they'll put out these movies, right, like Snow White or something like that, every 20 years, so that you connect with your grandparents or your parents on topics they want you to connect with on, you know, and you don't connect with them on things about life and all that stuff because like your slang is different, how you dress is different. It's very insidious how they weave this thing, you know, that you can talk to your grandma and grandpa about Snow White, but you can't talk to them about life or like, you know, integrity or whatever, right?
Yeah, that does make sense. They try to change up, kind of almost changing our language in a way, but just the way, the slang is, it is hard to connect with older people because it's like everyone's so out of loop with each other.
Yeah. God, man, they're just like, what a mind screw, right? And and it's like you almost wonder like if everyone just knew, right, that all this stuff is in your mind, man. Like if we just let this go, right? It's all in our mind. Like that's what government is, right? Like when 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 you say like, oh yeah, yeah, the American government, right? Well, point to it, you know, like where is this government that everyone keeps talking about, right? It's in your mind where what this thing is, you know? So I mean, I guess you can point to a building in Washington or whatever and say that's the government. But I mean, that's just a few people in a room, you know? Like what's going on, man? Like, and why do they have all these different? So government just means mind control, right? That's what it means, right?
Yeah,
And so,
yeah. Govern is control, and then men is mind.
right, right, and then you'll have all these different mind controls for different countries, and now they want to do a one world mind control, and they're doing it, and they're going to plug everyone into a computer, right? And now check this out, when they were building a Tower of Babel, and God said they were all of one mind, right? Does that sound like they're all plugged into the metaverse?
Yeah, it very well could be, man. I mean, this metaverse thing scares me, and I don't really want to scare no one. I mean, especially, if you accept Jesus, I think we're gonna be all right. But at the same time, I do think the metaverse is not bad, is not good. It could even be where your soul is trapped in this thing. They might be keeping your body alive, and you might not even face death.
Oh
I
man.
really hope it's not like that, but I think it's a real possibility so I hope, people wake up to this whole metaverse thing 'cause I don't think it's good at all.
Well, Chow, I know you say meant in government isn't mind, right? But I mean, have you ever heard of governmental? Like this is governmental, blah blah blah. I mean, it's mental, right? Mental means mind. I don't know. It always sounded like it was mind control to me, right? Because what would it mean then, right? The action or process of doing something, so control of our actions and our process. Ugh, that sounds worse even. But yeah, I was always told it meant governmental. You know, it's like what's the language breakdown? Is that Greek or is that Roman? I don't know, right? I don't know what the root word of it is. But I was always told it was mind control. You know?
Yeah, that's what I always thought. I mean, but I don't know if if it doesn't technically mean it. I mean, that's what they're doing.
Yeah. So firmament doesn't mean sound mind, right? But it's not firmamental though, right? So like governmental, right? Like it government is short, right? A short for governmental practices or yeah, Hannah says it's Latin. I don't know. It's good. Maybe we
That's
should
what I thought. I thought it was Latin because I think I looked it up a while back. I was
yeah,
just gonna
maybe
too.
well I agreed with you. I don't know. Maybe we should take a look at it because Child's pretty smart and but Hannah says Latin. I don't know if she knows the definition of it. But yeah, I mean, either way, right? It's still crazy. They still want to control our actions and all that stuff, right? But you start plugging into this metaverse, right? And this is one thing this guy said. This was about 15 years ago about something like this, right? When it was still an abstract kind of thought, right? He said that not only could you exist in electronics, like your consciousness, right? But he said that you can split your consciousness up into like 40 or 50 different people and then be those people and just hang out with yourself all day. That
That's
is
insane, man.
insane, right? That's terrifying, right?
Yeah,
Can you imagine that? Like if there was like 40 Lukes, right? And you're all just hanging with yourself.
I can't really imagine that. I don't know, man. It just sounds really just
I
far
don't want to
fetched.
think about it. It's
Yeah,
very scary.
exactly.
It is very scary. Hey, Chris, do you want to come up and talk? I haven't had Chris up in a while to talk, man, and Chris is always very good. I don't know if he could reach the link or if because now we got there's other wrenches in there, I think. But man, like I always want to know how like the younger guys are doing, like because they're more attached to the the technology, right? Because I don't know how old you are, Luke, right? But like I'm in my mid 40s, right? And I've kind of had half my life without it and half my life with it.
I've had a lot of my life with it just because I am 28.
Oh, you're a young guy then, man. You might be our youngest dude then.
Maybe.
Man, hey, look,
But
I'll tell you what, man. You being awake at that age, right, is amazing to me, man. Cause my son is 21, and I wouldn't say he's woke, right? He just knows things that I tell him. Maybe he's able to do it, I think, but he's still young. But to have it at that age, man, and to already know that God is real and everything. Because when I was your age, man, like uh, God seemed impossible to me.
yeah, it is a blessing, man. All glory to God, and I am very thankful that He showed me what He's showed me so far, and it would be suck to be so caught up and deep in this mind control. And I mean, we still kind of are in some aspect. I mean, once you accept Jesus is the truth, I think He's gonna show everything for you.
Wow.
But people are so caught up and so deep in this mind control that it is scary. I mean, especially now with the technology, people being born now, are they going to live their whole childhood through virtual reality? Are they even going to have a childhood? It's just
Right.
scary stuff to
Right.
think about.
Well, listen to this, right? So my brother is about 5 years younger than me. He's already got a grandchild, right? And this little girl, right? She's only, I think, 3 years old, 2 or 3 or something like that. Now, everyone wears a mask around her, right? I mean, she hasn't seen smiles really that much. Like when you're a baby, you're supposed to see people smiling at you, and facial recognition and that kind of thing. And she knows how to do the text and all that now, like already. And it really is a different kind of childhood, man. And you're like, wow, I if you would have showed me a text message, right, when I was a little kid, I would have been scared. I would have thought you were magic or something. Like I don't know. Like, are you born with a certain tolerance for knowing things, or you know what I mean? Like, what happens? Like, why would I be scared as a kid, but this kid gets it? You know?
Yeah, it's almost like that's just kind of how the world is. It's because they've almost been programmed into thinking that all this is normal and not different or not part of the world. And it kind of just goes with this whole VR thing, how you were saying. It's whether it's real or not, it's not going to be real, but the fact that it's going to portray as being more exciting, all the kids are going to be for it.
Yeah. No, I
Especially
mean,
it's like
yeah.
face mask times. Think about being a kid growing up and you're out in public. People are scared of you because you might have the virus. People wearing face masks everywhere. Everyone's keeping themselves, and they go home to their metaverse and they have all these friends. They could do what they want. Maybe people are smiling there. and they're gonna be wanting to go there to connect with people.
Yeah, you can't get sick in the metaverse, huh? That's weird, man.
Yeah, it's really weird stuff, man. And
I mean,
it's
you
got to
can,
be a tough time to be a kid right now. Just even the whole mask thing too. Not even just not seeing people smile, but just communication skills. A lot of communication is seeing people's facial expressions and
yeah,
all that. To emotionally
exactly.
connect to people.
Oh, wow. Like, hey, check this out. One time, now, I don't know, maybe I was like my late 30s, I don't know, but like I was playing this game called Words with Friends, right? This is back when I used to waste a lot of my time playing games, right? And I played this Words with Friends, right? And there was another young lady. She was a veteran too, right? But she was in her early 20s, so I'm not quite a whole generation gap, but like she was younger. But we used to all we did was play that game. We chatted a little bit, but we mostly just played that game. Now I played with her for a year, like almost I don't know, like at least every other day, right? And so I saw her at the hospital, right? And I went to go walk up to her to say hi, because I've been playing a game with this girl almost every day for, a year, or maybe even longer, right? And so it's like I felt like I knew her, right? And
Right.
she put her head down and like walked away, and later she told me that she was just nervous. It was awkward to see me in person because she's like used to me seeing me on the computer, like on the computer, and that's just weird, isn't it? I mean, I get no, like weird in my own mind, right? But I accepted that this is something that she's going through, right? And I took that seriously, right? But just to me, it was like, wow, man, I feel bad for this person. She can't. She's not good at seeing people in real life.
Right. It's the fact that the technology's got such a big hold on us that, like, when you see people in real life, maybe people are more nervous and anxious, and the communication's a little off. I mean, even just staying at home, right? Then I go out in public, I feel weird sometimes.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And
It's almost
even
a purpose disconnect that they're trying to do.
that it is. It's exactly what they're trying to do. They don't want us to like connect with each other, like it used to be like blocks used to have like barbecues and everyone would get together and the whole neighborhood, and we'd all play football or something like that, all the kids or whatever. And now there's nothing like that, right? You don't hang out with nobody on your block. I wouldn't even, if I had a young kid, I wouldn't even let him go down the street, you know?
Right.
That's the crazy part of it, right? Because when I was a kid, I was allowed to go all over the place, right? Like miles from my house, as a little kid, right? I would never let a kid go that far. Like thinking of my own kids, I would never let my kid even go past the into the street, you know? I
Yeah, it's
mean, it's
just
different
crazy
times,
kind
I
of
guess.
world we live in, man. Different times, and cell phones have everyone so disconnected. I mean, remember being like fifth, sixth grade, and I thought all the cool kids had a cell phone. Like, wow, I want to be like one of those kids. I want to have a cell phone and be able to do what I want. And now you look at it, it's like, man, I feel bad for like the people that are always on their cell phone. I'm one of them,
Yeah.
I'm always on it, but it's like, wow, it's like I must have been missing out on those times before cell phones.
Right, right. Well, I mean, like, think about this, right? Like, I never even thought about a cell phone in my life until like I was 18 years old. And by that time, it was like, okay, well, everyone was getting pagers, and doing little pager codes with people. You had to walk around with a pocket full of quarters, and it was like a different time, man, right? Like page your girlfriend, but then you got to call her, because you just got paged, and that was a big thing, right? And cell phones were like, you could get one, but if you couldn't really make a call until they did, because it was expensive, and then like they did this where it was like after 7 o'clock and on weekends was free.
I
So if
remember that.
right, right. So it's like, okay, well, I can talk to anybody I want after 7 and on weekends, but I can't call nobody during the day,
Yep,
and
we
now it's
used to have the Fave Five. You could pick five people you could call at any time for free, but everyone else was after seven or on the weekends.
right, right, right. And now it's like it's everyone's communication. You watch, TV, movies, everything all on the phone, right? And it's crazy, man, because like you'll still see some people, right? Like out here, like someone will be coming out of jail or something, right, out of San Quentin. Like, hey, how do I hook up my pager, man? Like they've been in jail so long. They're
I
like,
don't
no,
know, man. Imagine
like they,
someone like who's been in jail for 20 years and they come out now. It's like I don't even know how they could even adapt to this reality anymore, you
well,
know?
I mean, in reality, right? I was being funny, but in reality, they got cell phones in jail now, right? In like prison. I mean, but
Yeah,
could
I
you
guess they
imagine?
want everybody connected.
It would be expensive though, huh? Probably to get an iPhone in prison or something.
Yeah, probably. So like
It,
whatever, I don't know if you really make money in prison or how that works. Whatever money you do make or save is probably paying towards that.
yeah, crazy, crazy subject we just
Yeah,
jumped
it's
on.
crazy. And then payphones too. You don't see payphones around, but everyone has a cell phone. So it's almost like they want people to be able to like almost be located anywhere they go. Almost have like this machine that's always with you.
Well, yeah, not only that, but like there's apps, right, where you give permission for them to like have control of your contacts information and all that. And so they don't use it right away, but like they have, an alphabetical list of your friends, right? Like so they use Facebook, right? They have an alphabetical list of your friends, your likes, your dislikes, that kind of thing, right? They got a kind of a written history of like, your journaling, right? They got where you live, where you went to school, your contacts from your phone, all your appointments from your phone, all your pictures from your phone, and your location, right? And so it's hard to hide now, man. Forget it, right? And so like when you're watching these crime shows, right, where they like go on the computer and look a guy up or whatever, they're not going on like the police system. They're going on Facebook, man. And they're like, oh yeah, this guy Leonard Williams, man, he lives over here. Let's go get him. And then they go
Yep.
get him,
Get
right?
those political views, religious views, who you're associating with, your job, and where you were at recently, because people post pictures where they're at, and yeah, they'll know so much. They can find out so much about you just through Facebook.
Exactly. I mean, see, like, human beings go in like routines and patterns. It's very few people live like in a random way. Usually, you go to the same coffee shop, the same liquor store, the same, the same job, right? You same favorite restaurant every couple weeks or whatever. We live in like patterns, right? That like, oh, okay, I'm in a good little pattern. I got these good people in my life, and I'm happy, right? And you just kind of stay in it, right? Well, if you do anything, in your day, right, they're gonna know if that was along your path or not. Like, oh yeah, you were in that area at that time. Like we do know that you did this.
Oh
And
yeah, well,
so
on top of all that too, they have the whole social engineering. So they know what you're into based off like the likes that you hit or what you're looking into. So then the things you search, they can throw out some like topics to kind of get you down the wrong rabbit hole, but they'll know what's gonna like hook you in based off of what you've been talking about and searching. And it's literal social engineering. Like they're
yeah.
literally controlling your mind that way.
Now the only thing that's missing, right, this is what they want to do, and I think they're doing it in China already. At least that's what they say, right? Is they want to do some social where we vote on each other, we rate each other, right? Where if I'm standing behind you in line at McDonald's and you act rude in front of me, they want me to have the ability to rate you on that, to like, you know, to be able to, so you'll have like a 4 or 5, like say you got a 4.5 star rating as a person, right? Like they could say, okay, well, you have to have a 5 star rating to go on trips and go on airplanes, but with a 4, you can go to stadiums and this and that, right? Like
Yeah,
they
like
can
a
create.
social credit score, pretty much.
Yes, yes, man. And is that sick or what, right?
Yeah, it's
Like
that's really messed up.
let's say you're a truther, right? And right, we're just trying to give somebody the truth and try to help people out. but we're the most hated people, right? We'll have social scores of like a 1, but if we give in to the beast to get a higher social score, right? If you're ashamed of the name of Jesus, right? You know, that's no good, man. I mean, we got to stand up for him and be, a bunch of zeros. I mean,
Yeah,
this is where it's
when
headed.
people are so control, man. I mean, the way that's going, that's not going to be good because I've even like heard like how it's going to get to the point where they're going to have so much faith in this science and like rediscovering these technologies are life saving and all that. That if you are a Christian, you believe in Jesus, they're almost going to think like you're holding society back, like, oh, we can't move on and do all these great things because this person's still living in the past. They don't believe in the proof and the real science, and then you could probably get a bad social credit score just from that.
Yeah, yeah. And then what they'll do, right? So you're like you said, we're holding them back, right? In the Bible, that's called the restrainer, right? There's a restrainer holding them back. As soon as the restrainer's gone, right? As soon as we're gone, right? All hell breaks loose. This is happening. And you can't fake that, right? You can't fake how that turned out, right? So, like, these things are happening in prophecy, right? Where exactly the way Jesus said it would be. And you could never have planned it this way, this exact way, And it's just amazing, right? That
Right, right.
we are holding, the world back because the world, right, has all these religions and all these beliefs that lead to this antichrist figure that's going to clean things up and make the world better, right? And they're going to fall for that because they're going to be like, yeah, we can't give up. This guy's really trying to help us out and we're really making progress in the world. And then we're going to know that, like, no, this guy's not the real guy. Jesus is coming. And people are going to want to get rid of us because they don't want to give up on the world yet. And
Yeah. And it's a tough thing. I mean, until you really know Christ, it is, even though the world's messed up, it is tough to give up on the world because that's all you really know?
right, right. But see, at the same time as it being scary, right? It's also good confirmation, right?
Oh,
Because you're
yeah.
like,
Oh,
wow.
no, no, I agree. I agree with that 100%.
Because there were times where I like start talking to people about the end times, right? And I'm pumped up, right? Like I'm excited, right? and and people are like freaking out, right? And I'm like, oh, like I'm happy that it's happening. I'm not worried or nothing, right? Like
But
I
I
want
mean,
him
I
to
was
come.
talking about from a perspective where if you're not a believer, how scary it would be just to let go of everything and accept
Yeah,
death and all that stuff.
yeah, yeah.
But
I
as a
mean,
believer, it is great. It is a little bit scary because you kind of know what's coming beforehand. But the end game, it's like it's worth it, and it like you said, it confirms everything that like you've believed. It's like wow,
yeah,
this is really happening, and we're getting really close for salvation, man.
we are, man. But I just think it's so evil how the world teaches you that like this all happened naturally. There's no God, and this is all you get. YOLO. You only live once. This is everything you have and do is based on this life, and when it's over, right? Like this is your blip in life, right? But it couldn't be further from the truth. We're not like, a grain of sand on a beach that just happened, right? We're oh, there's not that many of us, right? We're like divine beings, right? Uh, we're related to God, right? You know what I mean? Like it's just amazing to know that like I didn't come from a monkey. I devolved from God.
Right. And that this is what it is. There's not all these millions of planets and different galaxies, and we're like such a small like spectrum of like what's going on, and we're just made from nothing, just a big bang out of nowhere. That really could hurt somebody's confidence in themselves, like
Absolutely, absolutely. What do you think drives people to want to like, experience the world in such a aggressive way, right? Like, oh, I better get it all in now, because like 2 years from now I won't be good looking anymore, or this at this time I won't be able to do this, or I'll have to achieve that, or I'm gonna die soon. You know, all these things you think that you only have X amount of time, X amount of youth, X amount of energy, right? Health, right? You're factoring all these things in, right? When in reality, right, this is a poof, man, a blip in time, right? Like it's a vapor compared to eternity. It's nothing.
It's
We
nothing,
we
right?
yeah,
Exactly.
we got born into a fallen world. God fixed it. We're just waiting for everyone to come to have their choice if they want to go or not. Then we're out of here. And if you look at
Yeah,
it
yeah.
that
I
way,
honestly, this world's more of like kind of a test, if anything, because like maybe God wanted to show us like what it's like to be caught up in sin and all that, because like then you can kind of appreciate His glory more. That's kind of what I think, you know.
absolutely.
I'm just kind of taking a guess, but that's what I think the whole purpose of this whole world and all that is.
I agree with that for sure. But I also thought, like, additionally on top of that, right? I thought that, like, so for us to have our own idea of right and wrong, right? We define what's good and bad every year, as opposed to God defines it, right? And so every year something new is accepted as okay, normal, right? But in reality, what God wants us to do is to give our will and our life over to Him, right? And trust Him with He decides what's good and evil, and we just go with that, right? And so I like the idea that one day in an incorruptible body, right, I won't even have the urge to do something wrong. I'm more than willing to give that up. You know what I mean? And but there's people that don't want to give up that control. They're like they still want to have the option to do that. And maybe it is a hard choice. It wasn't for me. I mean, when I found out that Jesus was the truth, right? The only way to salvation is through His sacrifice and His grace, right? Um, it was easy to accept, right? But there's people that don't want to give up. You know what I mean? Like that little part of control that it's to me seems easy to give up. I don't know.
Yeah, but for other people, yeah, it seems to be a tough thing. I think that's why it's hard for people to, to wake up to what's going on and yeah, to accept Christ and all that just because they think like what they know and what they can control, they want to keep it that way. It's almost like an ego thing of people waking up like, oh, I've been lied to the whole time and everything I know, that I've studied was just a lie. And people don't want to like have that reality. I think like
Mm.
part of it's pride. If you're say you're in school for 7 years and then you're finding out that big pharma, is corrupt and all that, then it's like, well, I can't accept that because I've been studying this for years and I went through school my whole life and there's no way that's true. It's like they almost can't even compute with that. And
Right.
it's crazy,
It
but you
is
almost
crazy,
have to
man.
accept that like what could be completely wrong and that everything is a lie and the decisions you thought were the right decisions could have very well been the wrong ones.
That's right. I mean it's just all about letting go, right? Like we have to let go.
Yeah,
And
I
I know
agree.
that I know that people want to make things right here, and I'm not saying to give up and to not try to do your best to make things right around you, but this place isn't for us. It's time to let it go in our minds so that we can not have stress over what happens in it, right? We can just be there for the people that are hurt and pull them out of that, right? When God says, "Come out of her, my people," right? And I know a lot of people look at the church like it's almost like that's symbolism for the church. It almost makes me feel like it's symbolism for the world, right? Just come out of her completely. Like none of that is for us, right? And when we're outside of it, we can watch it happen, right? And I don't know, man. I don't know if that makes people feel any better, but that's my understanding of it. And like now that I've been reading the Bible just in like a simple way, right? And I know this is gonna like spark a lot of debate too, but um, when Jesus is talking to Nicodemus, right, about you have to be born of the water, and then you can't see the kingdom of heaven unless you're born of the Spirit. I mean, to me, it just sounds like you got to be born here from your mom on earth, and then you got to die and be born of the Spirit to see the kingdom. Like, to me,
Yeah,
it
that's
sounds
I
simple. But people want to make that like, oh no, you got to be born of the water and the Spirit on earth, right? And I think that it's more simple than that, right? I think like the Holy Spirit is not about making it happen; it's about letting it happen, you know. And
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, but I know a lot of people have different ideas about that, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to think about. And then going back to the churches, they almost want to make everything with like church has to be part of like your salvation is almost like what they seem like. Oh, I believe in Christ. Oh, what church do you go to? Or you haven't been to church that much. And my uncle, he's a priest. I don't know him too well, and he's a really nice guy. But the way people treat him is like wild. Because I have cousins who don't even like really like believe in God, or like they're not like religious, and but they treat him like he's like this like high power guy. As soon as he enters the room, everyone's like calling him father and all that. I don't need no credit, right? But it's like, hey, I'm reading the Bible a lot, and like, nobody's treating me like that, which I don't care, but like it's just
Right.
interesting to think about, if you're like with the church, you have like this official status, then it's like all of a sudden everything you say is more credible. And then with all of us being equal, right? I mean, the church brings like a hierarchy type of thing to it too, and I just
Yeah.
think it's like the deception.
It is. I mean, we're not supposed to even call people father except God, right?
Yeah,
there's so many things that churches do that we're not they're against the Bible. Not just, you know, not biblical, but even against the Bible, right? Like it's really crazy, right? Because I had this image of God that wasn't really bad from the mainstream, but it wasn't right, you know. And reading the Bible for myself was the only way for me to really understand it, you know. Like that's the only way to understand it is to even if you're not a reader and you just listen to the audio Bible, at least do that,
at
you
least
know.
do that. Yeah, because that's kind of what I do. I mean, I'm kind of
I love
lazy
it.
with reading. I wish I would read more and be more motivated, but that's just not how I am right now. But at least
Yeah,
listen to it.
that's right. That's right, man. And like there's no replacement for it. Cause that's where I start getting these ideas, these like simple ideas that like, oh, maybe it's not like that. Maybe it's like this, you know? And you know, you start getting the sense like I love when Jesus always was, you know, telling people like, "Hey, I'm not here to comfort the insiders, man. I'm here to go get the outsiders and claim them, bring them back. I'm here to go talk to that guy that's full of demons, legion, you know." And
Yeah, or,
and
it's like when they're saying, "Oh, why are you hanging out with these sinners and all that?" And he said,
right.
those who are not sick don't need a physician.
That's right. That's right. You know, like we're out here trying to help people. So, hey, look, one sometimes I'm not gonna like, even though I do care about everyone's feelings in here, and it is valid and important to me, and I do value and have loyalty for friendship, right? Not saying that that's not important, but if I get a chance to reach out to somebody that's gonna go in the lake, you know, and I could like, you know, plant a seed to where they won't go in the lake of fire, I want to do that. Like that's what I feel the urge to do. And like I've had people like to come and tell me, so they say like, "Hey man, you know, you got some demons up in your chat, you know, that are this and that, blah blah blah." And I go, "Hey, look, Jesus picked 12 people, right? And he one of them sold them out, right?" So it's like this is the world, right? This is what we have to accept, you know?
Yeah,
Is
that's
it
a very good point, man.
you know, it's like it's not like so you can say that the world is messed up. Well, it's going to be the same in here too. There's nobody that's better than anybody else, right?
Yeah, and
So
I think the world kind of teaches you that, like, I know when people like do me wrong, I'll have other people tell me, and I know they're looking out, like, don't ever talk to this person again, or this person is corrupt, and like, things like that. And it's like, is that how we really think when someone like makes a mistake or a couple mistakes that they should just be isolated their whole life now?
Right. And
But
I agree with
it's
Chow.
tough for people.
Chow says not to fellowship with darkness, right? And I agree with that. I would say this, right? Like I would go out and it's not like you go out and hang out with people that are like, doing evil. It's like, you want the people that are doing evil to get good, right? I'm not accepting their behavior, right? But at the same time telling them the good news, right? And it's a good chance to reach out, right? Now you fellowship with people that are equally yoked, right? So yeah, you do hang out with people like being in this chat with people that are believers like us, right? We're equally yoked in here and we understand what we're talking about. But if we're really honest with ourselves, we need to reach out to people that, I look at them as sick and not bad, like, wow, that's a really sick person with broken thinking. Like I can see myself being like that, or even maybe I was even like that before, right? And I look at it like that, right? I'm not saying to like, okay, let's go into a strip club and preach the gospel. That's not good, you know?
Right, yeah,
Uh,
start doing the same stuff they're doing, and like, there's definitely a fine line, but I mean, that is a better way to say it too, is just people who are sick. And then I forgot the guy's name that was on your show. I think his name was Mark, but like his story was pretty powerful, but it sounded like before he really woke up to God, because his grandma told him like when, his brother died that he's with God now and like all these things. And one priest or whoever from the church making fun of him, it sounded like he was broken at one point. He had a lot of hate in his heart, and he was able to accept God and have a change of heart. So it's just kind of a prime example that that could happen to anybody.
I agree. I agree, And what's weird, right, is like I grew up in a pretty liberal, area, and God was never pushed onto me or anything, and I could have been anything I wanted, and like as free as that sounds, right? And as good as I thought that was as growing up, that's terrifying to me, right? Like, why didn't they just like strap me down and tell me, look, God is real. This is the way it is, right? Like, I'm glad I found God, right? Or God found me, either way, right? But like, it's scary to think about these things, right? Like, but I would hate to be like in Mark's situation too, where maybe he got he got God, but like the wrong way, or a different version of what's right. I mean, who knows, right? It's a miracle we're all here. It's a miracle,
Yeah,
right?
it really is, man.
And just the fact that all of us are together um and fellowshipping and sharing ideas, this would never happen like, 30 years ago, right? As far as technology. And I mean, I wonder, like, only once in this, created life, is this possible, even, right? For this many people to break out of all the brainwashing, like, this is unprecedented. I just think that I hope nobody's in denial about this and thinking that this is some kind of entertainment, right? Like, this is reality, man. Like, this is the end of the world, man. Like, this is for real. People are gonna go in the lake of fire, man.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, this
oh
is
man,
serious stuff, man. It's a spiritual warfare, and we have our disagreements. That's gonna happen with everybody, but at the same time, we got to be there for each other and really try
absolutely.
to, try to
We're a family,
plant seeds
right?
and get other people part of the team.
Yeah. If any of these people in here needed me for anything, I would do anything I could. I don't have a lot of money, but like I would give anyone in here like, 80% of my stuff. Like I
It's
would,
awesome, man. I mean, we're brothers and sisters. We got to be there for each other.
Yeah, we gotta be. I wish I wasn't broke, man. Like not broke in the sense that I'm not making it or that I need anything, because I always have enough, right? And thank God for that, right? But I wish I had more to give out. Like that always tugs on my heart, especially like out here in California. There's such a big homelessness problem, and rents are like triple what they are anywhere else in the world. You know?
Yeah, it's so messed up, man.
Yeah,
They
but you know,
got what you said, how much rent was, but I remember it was kind of ridiculous, like the numbers that are being thrown out there, like 1,500 and 2,000,
more than
more
that.
than that. Jesus,
In
man.
In San Francisco, that's how much my place is. Like probably 15 or 1600. But like, if you're in like San Francisco in a one nice one bedroom, you know, probably looking at like 2,800 to 3,000, and then you're looking at probably 400 to park your car, 500 to park your car every month.
Wow, man.
I know, man. You got to make 50 grand a year and just to pay your rent, you know.
Yeah, that's insane, man. I mean, it's kind
I
of
mean,
starting to probably happen everywhere. I mean, even the hospitals are pretty bad. Went to the hospital a few weeks ago just because I was having chest pains, and I probably would have been all right, but like my aunt was really pushing me to go. I was working with her, and I'm like, you know what? All right, it's probably good at least get it checked out. And I got the bill, $2,000, 1,750 just to walk in the Cleveland Clinic, just to walk in the emergency room,
oh wow, wow, $1,750.
just to walk in. Yeah,
Oh my god. Wow, man, what do they expect from us, man?
yeah.
I
I don't
mean,
know.
they want you to pay car insurance. They want you to pay renter's insurance. They want you to pay, medical insurance, right? And you're paying all these premiums, right? You're not even using their service. So you just give them free money, man. And then when you do end up needing them, right? Like they're never there for you. You always got to come out of your own pocket. Like, I mean, the system out here is just jacked up and upside down. And I remember I lived out in Ohio for a little bit. I lived in Salem, Ohio for like three
Oh,
years.
really? No way.
Yeah, I did. Because I used to go to the Cleveland VA. I think there's one in Cleveland and there's one in like a town that starts with a B. I forget what it's called.
Maybe
I forget what it,
Berea. I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't know, but it was a I don't know. I liked it out there. Life is a lot slower in the sense that like you can like work at like 7-Eleven and you could work at like 7-Eleven, like pay all your bills, you know what I mean? And like have a car and all that, right? Like like if you did that in the Bay Area where I live, right, you'd have to have like six roommates, five or six roommates, you know? It's pretty crazy, you
Jesus.
know. Can you imagine like five
How
people
bad the
stuffed into a
economy
one
is,
bedroom?
the world is, and all that. I'm glad that like Ohio is somewhat decent, at least where I'm at for the time being. I mean, I'm not holding my
Well,
breath because things are kind of getting
well,
crazy. Yeah.
I'll say this, right? For like Ohio wasn't like aesthetically the best place and like the winters are hard, right? But like everybody I met in Ohio was a pretty decent person, you know? Like they're really I mean, yeah, there's some bad eggs everywhere, right? But like there's so many good people out there, man, that will help you, you know? Like out here if you're like on the road broke down, you know, you got like a popped out tire or something like that, people would just zoom past you, man. You know, no one's trying to help you. They think that, you know, it might be a setup or you might shoot them or something, you know. Or
Yup, yup. Well, it's probably gonna start turning into that here just because of the, whole V that's going on and all that. Everyone's kind of scared. I mean, people are still pretty decent, but I just think, the fair and stuff is really starting to program people to be away from each other.
yeah, no, I get it. All right, it's time to round out. Thank you so much, Luke, man. You're so great on here, man. I didn't know you were so young, man. That gives me so much hope. You don't even know, man. You don't even know. It
Yeah,
does,
I
man.
appreciate it, man. And I'm really grateful I found your channel. And like you said, man, I'm just surprised that there's not more channels like this.
I
It's like a
know.
really small group.
There should be like, you know, 100 channels like this where people could just, you know, where it's all about God and all about putting Jesus first, right? And like all the truth. No, nobody's gatekeeping, right? Nobody's saying like, what do you mean the Hollywood's full of men? You know, like I mean, like, come on, man. Like, time for denial on these conspiracies is over, man. You know, like, what are we
Oh
doing,
yeah.
man?
And real quick, I want to keep it going, but I've even heard like NFL, like even Tom Brady could be a
Yeah.
different genre. I don't know, because I haven't looked into it too
Hey,
much. But the way things are, I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm very careful about what I say publicly as far as what I know and what I don't know. But I would say 90% chance that Brady's an invert.
Yeah,
That's how
crazy
pure. That's
stuff,
how.
man. But keep in mind, man, like you were saying too, I think even people like that can be saved.
Oh yeah, I think anybody with a flesh body and a breath left, like that's what I think. I mean, I don't know that, right? But that's what I think, and I'll never give up on anybody, right? Like those are the people I want to reach, right? The ones that are the furthest out there. Wouldn't that be like the biggest testimony, right? To like save even more people, right? And it's up to God, right? God creates all the believers, right? And hopefully God, like will do that for us, and we'll be able to see that here, And but anyway, so enough of my rambling. Thank you so much, Luke, man. It's always a pleasure, man. Always, you're a valued member of the group, man. And praise Jesus for his sacrifice and his grace, and all glory to God. Pray for the children. I will see you guys at 5 o'clock tonight. Oh yeah, I didn't say it, huh? Time to hit the old dusty trail. All right, I'll see you later, guys.